All right, well, good afternoon. Thank you again for being here for an update on our negotiations with the MFT and ESP union. Obviously, I just want to restate again, it's our deep desire to have our students back in the classroom in front of their educators and their teachers, learning in our schools. And so we maintain that commitment and that dedication to getting a contract settlement here. So as far as an update, what I can tell you right now is that we came up here to do this briefing, but we're right in the middle of receiving a proposal and having some discussion around that. This is the 8th day that our students have been out of school, and that means at this point we have 3 days that we will have to be making up based on the statute requirements for the number of days we have to be in session. So again, want to make sure that we're getting a contract settled as quickly as possible so we can get our students back in front of the teachers that care very much about them and in the school learning environment that they so desperately need to have. I do want to start with some positive news also. Just letting you know that we reached a tentative agreement with our SEIU members. That's the Service Employees International Union, broadly known as our food service employees. And so because this is a tentative agreement, I cannot share the specifics of it, but we're very excited to be able to continue providing those services for our students, the wellness programs that we have, as well as our food service program, especially during this very, very difficult time. So a huge thank you to all the team that was able to negotiate that agreement, that tentative agreement, and certainly look forward to honoring and recognizing our employees with this contract. We do have one of the nationally recognized programs, culinary wellness programs in the nation. So very, very pleased to be able to share all of that news with you today regarding the tentative agreement. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Board Director El-Amin and let her share a few thoughts, and then we'll have some more comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Sharon El-Amin. I am the School Board Director for District 2, which is North Minneapolis area here. And I guess I'll just share a little bit in regards to the strike, kind of talk a little bit about the diversity within our district and where I feel we are headed. Like I stated, I am one of the newest members, the elected members here for our district. And I must say that I've seen quite the challenge that we've experienced with this strike here. When we think about diversity, and I think about the African American students that we serve, the number of Black students versus our children of color, our district serves about 70% of Black and brown children. And so when I look at our makeup of the schools versus our makeup of teachers and administrators, there's a huge imbalance when it comes to that. And I'm just looking forward to being part of the team to help to try to balance that out. As we look at the strike and we hear what's going on with things in regards to our lowest paid employees, the dollars that they're asking for, it's been very challenging. But it also makes me think about, how do we get here? How do we get to the point where it is our Black and brown educators that are amongst those that are the lowest paid, right? And so the more that we dive into this, my goal, my hope is that we will really, truly dig into the equity piece of it and make sure that our Black and brown educators, again, are those that are taken care of. I just speak for myself. My children are all graduates of Minneapolis Public Schools. And I now have a grandson that's in Minneapolis Public Schools. And I know that without those Black educators, those ESPs, those different deans that was working in the schools, the relationship that they built with my children lasts a lifetime. My oldest is 28 years old now, and he still calls on some of the deans that was in the school when he was there. So the roles that they play are very critical, and we just really want to strive to show them that we appreciate everything that they're doing, that we recognize the strength that they bring in our classrooms, the partnerships that they bridge with our teachers, and just really, really open the door for more diverse teachers. Not only hiring them, but retaining them. That's a huge concern for me. Again, we have to make sure that we give them the opportunity to not only be hired, but how do we retain them? Because we have to get out of a system that continues to kind of opens the door, but we don't necessarily keep them in a healthy environment. So that is one of the things that I really want to be a part of, and I look forward to trying to work with the team as we talk about the strike. But there's a lot of inequities that we also need to deal with other than the dollars that are on the table. And so I, again, just really want to make sure that the voices, people that look like myself, my children, families that look like me are being heard, and that we have an opportunity to continue to work together. So I'll just kind of stop there and give it to Maggie.
Thank you, Director El-Amin. So just wanted to provide a quick mediations update. We did meet all day and all evening yesterday. The district did put forward an equity-focused package for the teachers. This includes a wage proposal that really supports our lowest paid teachers, gets our starting salary up to over $50,000. But it also includes a number of equity provisions, just to Director El-Amin's point, really around recruiting, but also retaining educators of color and teachers of color. It also provides a memorandum of agreement to allow us to keep our teachers of color in their schools and in the district, despite their seniority status and for other reasons. So we think this is absolutely critical, and our proposal is on our website. We have been in mediation all day today. I've just received a proposal, and we're looking for another proposal as we go back. So anxious to get started, get back to it, and continue on this evening.
Yeah, just wanted to share as well. I mean, we had about 150 students here at the Davis Center speaking their truth and advocating on behalf of our district. And so that was a really positive thing to see anytime you see students activate their voice and express themselves. It's a wonderful thing to see. We had a great conversation. They reiterated the importance of their teachers. We've also talked about the importance of having teachers of color. We talked about how we do have proposals there as a shared value between ourselves and MFT. And so also I think we talked about how hard it is for them not to be in school. And while my heart was elated about the fact that they're speaking, they have the relationships with teachers and other staff. We also talked about the fact that they could be in school while we're negotiating. And we talked about the fact that we're committed here all night. We're willing to be here 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 o'clock in the morning, to 9 o'clock the next day, all night, all day, negotiating our contract. At the same time, our students need to be back in school. We can negotiate a contract with our students back in school. The students can love their teachers. We can continue to value our teachers and our ESP staff, but our primary purpose is to educate our children and to give them what they need each day, every day. And then we can still commit to negotiating all day, all night, as long as it takes to settle the contract. So they heard that, and some of the students wanted to continue to march and to support, and so we value that as well. But we'd love to see our students back in school. They need it. They need the support. They need the caring adults, and so we hope to see that soon.
So we are continuing to work closely with the community to make sure that we're providing resources and support to all of our students during this strike. I just want to lift up a couple more community partners that we are engaged with. This information is also available on our website, so I encourage families, parents, students to go to our website to see the different resources. Migazi is one of our partners, and they're offering daily programs for students around the arts, also some physical activities like bowling, maple syrup making. We have the Minnesota American Indian Center also offering activities, open gym, lunchtime availability for students to keep them engaged, keep them connected. And then we are seeing a number of students increasing their participation with the Beacons program at North Edison and Henry. So we're very appreciative of everyone else who's been trying to provide support. Our community education program, again, has a number of resources on the website, enrichment activities, and so just really working hard day and night to provide those expansive supports during the strike. So with that, we'll take a few questions, and then we would like to make sure we get back down to mediation.
So last night, Chairwoman Ellison said that the financial piece wasn't really the discussion, but it was more about contract language. It sounds like that is perhaps what continued today. Can you guys confirm
Yeah, today we're continuing to work both on financials as well as on contract language, so we're doing both.
How about just optics here? I know SEIU is a totally different union, different food service workers, different group. But here you have something that was done fairly quickly after they determined that they had laid their 10 days out and hadn't even reached that strike point. And here with educators who continue to negotiate. Just talk about that. I know they're different groups, their requests are different, it's very, very different, but just when you look at that from the outside, it's like, oh, this was done fairly quickly here, and here you're still, and kids are out for 8 days now.
Yeah, I think each negotiation is different. We didn't get to the point where we had several days of mediation. We had just a couple days in mediation with SEIU, and they came to the table ready to offer something that we could consider, and we were able to provide that. And again, the value that we need to demonstrate for our employees is very, very apparent. We know that. We know that as district leaders. We know that as a community that we have to show and demonstrate value to our employees, not only in the wages, but how we interact with them. And so that remains a commitment and a focus for all of our contracts that we're negotiating. Yes?
Sometimes with negotiations, you have a sense that you're close. Other times you feel like you're far away. Now that you've had this amount of time, can you characterize how it is lately compared to where it started? Do you feel like you're closer? Feel far away? How would you characterize it?
We're still working. As mentioned already by the members of the team, the board chair, we are committed day and night to negotiate. And I've been, attending conversations with the team, working very closely with the mediators, having discussions with them about what we need to do for over a couple of weeks now. And so we're still optimistic that we're going to make progress, and we're still committed to getting this contract settled in a way that is representative of the values that we have as an organization, both for our employees as well as the financial responsibilities that we share with the community.
Have you all heard anything about more money coming from the state to support the district and other school districts?
I've not heard directly. I know that there's obviously conversation at the legislature about what to do with the surplus, and certainly the underfunding that we've had for special education and English learner services has been a priority for this board since I've been here, and we'll continue to prioritize that, but I've not heard anything directly at this time.
Well, Eric, you had mentioned today, and we heard this yesterday at the update as well, about wanting to continue negotiating and get students back in school. Have you asked the union to do that? And have they're not willing to do that? Or what has been their response to you when asked?
Still waiting for a response. We did ask that question. We did make that request. We're going to continue to make the request. I believe that both sides are student-centered. And so, again, appealing to the values we have about giving our students what they need. And there's things that we need to negotiate, but I think our primary purpose is to have students in the classroom getting the supports that they need. So we're going to continue to request that we come back, we have our students back in the classroom, and then again, we go all night as long as it takes to settle the contract.
And with regard to the 3 days, is that 3 days that would need to be made up for every grade at this point? And is that a negotiating tool for them too? Is there a way where you wouldn't necessarily have to make up those days?
So as we get closer to alignment on the contract being settled, those are part of the conversations that we have to have. We're required in statute to meet those number of days, and we know that we have to have a return to work plan. We had a session with principals today and just kind of processed what that transition is going to need to look like. We're not there yet, but we have to be planning for it. We have to be emotionally ready for those conversations, and we have to be prepared to receive our students, our staff, our family members, our community. So there's a lot of work to be done in that area, and we know that it's a heavy lift, but it's one that we're deeply committed to doing. And so we're simultaneously having those conversations. How many days do we have to make up? What does that look like in the return? How do we transition people back from the space they're in right now and still honor and respect what their values have been during this strike position? So it's more work to be done for sure.
And that's 3 days every grade.
Right now we're focused on day 3, and I think tomorrow will be day 4. And again, we just have to look at the hours as well, because of the way it's set up in statute, it's days and hours.
Is there anything more you can share about the tentative agreement that was reached with SEIU and how that came to be?
We cannot. It's a tentative agreement, which means both parties have tentatively stated their position of support for the contract as it was negotiated, and now they have to take it out to their membership. And once they're able to do that, get approval, we'll be able to bring it in front of the board, and the board will vote on it as well.
Any other questions?
Going back to what Director El-Amin was saying about low pay for the ESPs and who are predominantly Black and brown educators, and I know you all have also said that you're at your financial limit. How are you sort of reconciling, the priority for wanting to raise their pay, but being at your financial limit?
I don't want to speak for Director El-Amin, but I would say that's part of the negotiation process. We have finances that we put on the table, and certainly need to hear, how those finances can be best utilized to address both the values of the board and the district, as well as the values of our employee.
Are there other areas of the budget where you're looking at making cuts to maybe increase the funds that are available to settle the strike?
So we're going through our budget process right now, and we know that we have, again, a limited amount of revenue and a significant amount of expenditures. So we will have some adjustments and reductions to make this year, but again, it's based off of our current position. So any changes will obviously have an impact on the budget going forward.
All right. Sorry, they gotta get back to the negotiation table.
Thank you, everyone.